Okay, welcome to this brand new video for Dreamweaver Lesson 4. I finally got around to updating this video because the last time I made this video I was using the old version of, or the older version of Dreamweaver. Now I got the newer one, the one that you guys have. So it's going to be two parts because this is pretty long, pretty complicated lesson. This first video I'm going to focus on destinations. So just take a quick look at what the final product's going to look like. You can see it's got a lot of graphics and things are very precisely placed. And what I'm going to show you is this grade tip. So this is what we're looking for, is nice clean vertical lines that are lining up our graphics, our text, and also clean horizontal lines moving across from the prices to the text. Consistent sizes and spacing for all our boxes. So to get a look like this, what we're going to use Dreamweaver is we're going to use tables, real sophisticated tables, and we're going to draw them out. So let me show you how to get started. I open up my Dreamweaver and I'm going to have a brand new HTML page. You could also go up to File, New, either way. I'm just going to open up a brand new blank page and I'm going to give it a title, Feature Destinations. It's called Destinations. And then before I do anything else, I'm going to save this file. And I'm going to save it in the Lesson 4 folder. Hopefully you guys have gotten into those habits, good habits of saving it. Now don't get confused and crazy because you guys don't, most of you don't have the DWMX, you just have Compass Tours. It's fine, it's just an extra folder. I'm going to put it inside Lesson 4. I notice a few of you guys are saving your files, out here in the middle of nowhere. I would recommend keeping them in folders, just makes it cleaner. And I'm going to call this one just Destinations. Okay, so I saved the file. Now it should show up over here. There it is, Destinations. And now what I'm going to do, to get this started, I'm going to go into the images, and I'm going to find towards the bottom this thing called Table Trace. I just want to make sure it's there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to drag and drop this out. Instead, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to go into Page Properties. This is a new feature we haven't seen before in Dreamweaver. So I'm going to go to my Page Properties, and see this last option. It says Tracing Image. Click on this. I'm going to browse out to an image. I'm going to find that image I just showed you, this table trace. So it's inside. It started in Lesson 4. I went to Images. I'm going to go to the back. Table trace. There's a preview of it. That's the one I want. I'm going to say OK. And now notice I'm doing the transparency. I'm going to bring it down to about 20%. Now for this video, I'm going to make it a little darker. So you can see. Abu, what do you want? My dog's barking. Here, let me pause this video and let my dog in. Okay, I'm back. Abu's in the room now. So I'm going to put mine up to about 26 for the video, but for you guys, probably around 20 is good enough. You'll see. See, in the video, hopefully you can kind of see it's kind of blurred out in the background. So many times when you're doing more sophisticated sites, what you'll do is you'll be working, a web designer will be working along with a graphic artist. And the graphic artist can use a program like Photoshop or like what we're going to use next, Fireworks, to draw the web page ahead of time. Because with a graphics program, you have a lot more freedom to move images and put them wherever you want. So what we're doing here is we're assuming that our graphic designer has already drawn this for us, and what we're going to try to do is use this as like a trace and create a web page over the top of this. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and hopefully I remember everything. So the first thing I need to do is I need to go up to these toolbars. Yours is probably uncommon right now, or wherever it is, but I want to do is I want to go to the one that says Layout. So I click on the Layout, and I want to go to Layout. Right now it's in Standard mode. That's when you've been used to. When you go to Layout mode, it switches it up. It says this little message, say OK. And now what I'm going to do is use this blue one to draw cells along all the areas that I want. So not the green one, okay? Don't use that. That draws tables. I want to draw individual cells. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to draw cells like, think of a cell as like a container that's going to allow the graphic to go inside of it. So I'm going to put one there in Compass Tours. And notice what it did. Dreamweaver automatically drew a table to put that cell inside of. And then you see these little white lines. It's kind of created a couple columns and some rows. And the challenge for this, to make this go well, is to just draw as few as cells as possible without having it draw a lot of extra tables, without a lot of extra like columns. See, right now it's drawn another column here, and it had to create 2 rows. So I just want to keep matching these up as clean as I can get them. and kind of stay within the white line. So I'm going to keep drawing these over. Alright, I'm going to pause this for a second and let you guys work, and I'll work ahead. Okay, I just drew a couple more. Notice I drew one here, and I drew one for the airplane. And now, for the text, this is what I'm talking about. If you look at it closely, the text, my text starts on the other side of this white line, but if I draw a box here, it's going to create another column. It's going to start to get all these little white lines. It's going to start to get kind of crazy. So I'm going to start my box here for that text, and I'm going to have an end here. So it's not perfectly lined up with my trace, but that's not going to be a big deal, because in the end, the same thing here, I'm going to draw, well, this one I'm going to just have, there's no way I can get around it. I'm going to stop it here for the mountain biking graphic, and then for the text, I'm going to start it here. And I might have to make it a little bit bigger to get that text to fit. So I'm just trying to reduce the total number of white. And here's what I'm talking about. I want to keep the horizontal lines clean. So you can see that I'm not perfectly on my trace, but it's not going to be the end of the world, because in the end, when you post this page, the person who looks at your web page, they're never going to see the trace image. They're only going to see what you have. So I'm just using that trace image as a guide. It doesn't have to be perfectly matching up, as long as the overall web page looks nice and clean. Okay, I'm going to finish that. Okay, I finished drawing a box that's approximately located for all of my text and my graphics. I'm going to save this. Now what I'm going to do is start filling these cells or these containers up with all these images. And you're going to just kind of figure it out from the name of it. So the Adventure Tours is here's Adventure Tours gift, drag and drop. Okay, place that on there. And notice it doesn't line up perfectly. Now resist the urge to grab the graphic and pull it, because that will change the dimensions of the graphic and will start to make it bigger and twist it. Instead, take the cell, and if you squeeze the cell so it fits perfectly around the graphic, then using the keyboard and your mouse, the arrow keys on your keyboard, you can slide that graphic over a little bit and get it to line up as close as you can. So there's Adventure Tours, and I want the compass logo, put that over here. I want the plane, put that here. And these three icons, the mountain biking, that's probably called biking icon. And notice right, once again, it's a little bit smaller than my blue box, so I could squeeze that box a little bit if I wanted to move that. And then the kayaking icon. And then notice that one I can squeeze a lot. So I'm going to squeeze the cell right around it. And then finally the surfing icon. Alright, now let's get the text. If you go inside of the folder called text, there's three different textings we're going to use for this project. The one that I want to get is the one that's called biking or student table project.txt. So if you click on that file, this has all the words that we want. And they basically go in order. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that first one and right click and copy it. Come back over to destinations, and that's going to go in here, this box. Now what you're going to notice is the default text is too big. So I'm going to go into page properties, and I'm going to change my text font for the whole page and make it Verdana. And the size I'm going to pick is 10. Size 10 works out pretty good. And the text color, I'll make it black. There, now my text fits much better. And then I'll go get the next text box. Copy that. Now if you don't know, a shortcut on your keyboard is Control-C instead of right-clicking. That's kind of a little bit faster. And Control-V is paste. So that fit pretty good. And I'm going to get the next one. And then I'm going to get the last one. Now before I do that, I want to show you this box. Now, these guys are a little bit tricky. I'm going to get this first one, this 550. I'm going to copy that text, bring it over into here. I'm going to paste it in, and then I'm going to go back to the 550 and I'm going to bold that out, make it look a little better. And now here's the tricky part. To get that more details button, which is right here, to get it to fit nice, after the E in airfare, I'm going to get my cursor there. I'm going to do a Shift Enter move. Shift Enter brings the cursor down, and then I'm going to take that details button and drop it in place. And then it's going to fit pretty nicely right where it should go. So once again, I'll do one more for you. Copy that guy out. I'm going to Control C. Control C is copy. And then I'm going to hit my Shift Enter just to do a single space, and I'm going to bring that details button down right into it. And if you think it looks better to do a double Shift Enter, you could do a second one. Maybe it does look a little better. And then I want to bold out that 950. Oop, get back. Now remember, if you ever screw something up, Control Z, Edit Undo. We'll bring it back a step. Alright, and then you can finish that last part, and then don't forget these little buttons up here. The featured button. Don't use the F2 button, that's like a different color. And if you drew those boxes nicely, it should fit pretty good. Now as long as you don't make any mistakes, once you start moving things all around, these white lines that are appearing, all these little columns and stuff, they can really start to multiply fast. And sometimes your page can just get kind of really messed up. So just be careful, take your time, and if it gets really screwed up, you might as well just start over and do it again. So I'm going to preview it really quick, F12 it, see how it looks. And you can see what I'm talking about, that the fact that my boxes didn't line up perfectly with the trace really doesn't matter because I don't see the trace. But what I'm looking at is that nice clean line across the box, horizontally, and then vertically everything's lining up. Now, and as I look at this, I kind of think it might look better if this icon came down in the middle. So I think I'm going to come back here and I'm going to take this guy, and using my Shift and my down arrow on the keyboard, boom, I'm going to knock it down like 10 pixels. Kind of center it up, eyeball it. I think that might look a little better. So, certainly there's a little room for personal taste in how it looks. But that's the main idea. I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to move on to the next one, to the next part. So I'll see you on part 2.